Coming up, we check in with the team over at Chris Craft as they continue their 150-year legacy of creating top-of-the-line sports boats. A whole other world is exemplified in the iconic heritage of veteran boat builders Chris Craft. These boats may be smaller, oftentimes being used as a taxi service for larger mega yachts, but they still embody what it means to be extreme.
There's many boating brands, but Chris Craft is the one that evokes feelings and imagery of the Kennedys and Hemingway and Key West. The company was founded in 1874 by a guy named Chris Smith. Over the course of his life, he built really the first recreational boat company. His grandson, Harson Smith, he took over the company and really created the recreational boating lifestyle for the American public.
Even though the company switched from making their boats with wood to fiberglass around 1972, they still strive for the type of excellence that Chris Smith started 150 years ago.
They're truly some of the most beautiful boats and yachts that anyone can produce in the world.
And someone that grew up around Chris Craft, eventually working for them and who knows the impact they've had on the industry, is one of the founder's grandsons, also named Chris Smith.
They are gorgeous. I've ridden in a few of them, but they are pricey. At least I've had a lot of fun with the money.
With the headquarters located in Sarasota, Florida, the crew building these amazing watercraft are seasoned veterans.
There's incredible know-how in this building for pretty much every aspect of boat building, from fiberglass to upholstery to cabinetry to wiring harness construction. We manufacture the entire boat here.
Craftsmanship that goes on in a 20-foot or a 36-foot or a 100-footer is still very much the same.
The team at Chris Craft fabricate their components in-house. There is no deviation from the original schematic that strives for nothing short of excellence.
This is what we call infusion. We will open that valve right there. You will see the resin travel through all these cavities right here to go into the part. And that's when the part will dry, then we will pull the inserts. This is a finished part come out of the mold. It's a nice finished looking part.
Chris Craft, back in Sarasota, Florida, is taking the old and making it new.
That's what basically our style now. Make it look like a wood boat, the style, built out of fiberglass.
The transition going from wood into fiberglass started in the early 70s.
It's easier to build a hull out of fiberglass than it is out of wood. It requires less man hours, and you wind up with a finished product that lasts longer without the need for a lot of care.
The first step is to mold the ultra-durable fiberglass hull and deck of the boat.
This is what we call the mold repair area. Every mold come in here, get checked out, go in there, get cleaned up, and then we go in what we call the mold care room. And we can put a coat of wax. That makes sure the part release from the mold.
After the mold has cured, it's gel-coated, which accounts for the base colors on the outer shell of the hull.
This is a two-color boat. We will get the first color shot, pull the fine line, then that gel coat got to dry before we go to the second color. After that, then this boat will go into what we call the lamination area.
And here the entire deck and hull get a layer of fiberglass to create the boat's watertight foundation. The first layer is a skin coat whereby large spools of fiberglass are machine shredded and applied using a spray gun. The following layer is laid out by hand and coated in resin. And once the deck and hull are completely formed and dried, the crew can finally separate it from the mold.
We got all the hull laminate, all the stringers in. It's ready to be pulled right now.
After a Chris Craft hull is made, it can start to get assembled.
This is our 32 hull. It just come out of the cutting booth. We're gonna go ahead and do all the pre-finished work. Check for all the damage, air, whatever we can find in there. Then we will go into the assembly line.
What we're doing now is we're installing the wiring harnesses. This is just one of the major components of the boat, which Chris Craft makes internally. We're one of the few companies that still make all our wiring harnesses and do all that work. What you're seeing here next is us actually installing part of the harness in this 25-footer.
And to make things easier, Chris Craft utilizes a machine that labels each wire.
If you get to a pump that's not working, you can trace the wire back all the way through the boat to see where it's broke. If you're getting in the middle boat and you open up a wiring loom, you can say, okay, this is a speaker wire. I don't want that. You can trace wires through a boat a lot easier.
Another stop in the assembly line is putting on the teak.
What we're doing now is we're going to install the covering boards and the floor in a 25 launch.
Teak's expensive to buy as a raw material. It's hard to get as a material. and it's expensive to work with and install, but it's a premium product.
It's a two-part epoxy, 50-50 mix. We use black epoxy on the outside for looks, because it looks nice against the teak. On the inside, we use a brown epoxy. It's basically the same thing, but it has more of a flexing agent in it. We're gonna lay the epoxy out. This floor will then be screwed down on top of that. Then we come back and caulk everything in, pull the tape, and it leaves a nice seam like you see in the finished boats. Any little tweaking needs to be done, we do that. It comes out looking great.
Back to sunny southern Florida. Let's check back in with the crew at Chris Craft.
We made the transition from our lamination process, from the pulling process, all the way through final finishing. Meanwhile, while all that's occurring, we also have in these steps in our sub-assembly shops many operations going on that will in turn feed product that go on to the final application and assembly.
Including the handcrafted upholstery.
This is our upholstery shop. We do everything in-house as far as the upholstery goes, from the bucket seats to the V-berth, comforters, drapes. It definitely takes talent to do what we do. It is very intricate.
But before they can finish all the upholstery and accessories, they need to install the 400-plus horses that'll make this thing run.
Chris Craft incorporates up to the 400-plus horsepower motors in many of our boats, and it makes them run extremely well.
I believe in not worrying about those old original engines. Put new power in it if you really want to use your boat, so you've got something that you can depend upon.
We come into what we call our final assembly operation, and that's where we actually put on all the rub rails, the rest of the interior upholstery. We do all the final propulsion hookup, electrical hookups. Then we will go out to the water. We test every single boat so that we make sure that they function correctly for the customer prior to shipment.
And we've seen what it takes to construct a classic Chris Craft sports boat. Now it's time to see the finished product. You won't want to miss this. Overwhelmingly huge to the deceptively small, we head back to Sarasota, Florida to check out the Chris Craft Launch 32 as it cuts through wakes and turns heads, proving that an extreme yacht can come in all shapes and sizes. And at 32 feet long with a 10-foot beam, it can comfortably accommodate anyone looking to spend a night on the water.
What we did is we designed a nice small little cabin. It's outfitted with a mattress and nice upholstery and pillow detail. So it's comfortable for overnighters. We've got a small head compartment right in here, plenty of room inside, a sink. Moving aft in the boat to the helm area, you've got a nice double helm companion seat. The boat's gonna run a little 2 degrees up, so you're gonna be looking right through the windshield, or if you prefer, you can raise the thigh rise and look over the windshield. You've got duplicate gauges for both port and starboard engines. You've got a power seat to be able to move the seat forward if you like. And this boat is also equipped with Volvo joystick option. These are also Volvo gauges, which are redundant of this, but it gives you neat features like fuel burn, hours, and how much time you've had on the water. Neat stuff. You've got a small glove box here. You have a USB port, and then you also have a 12-volt receptacle inside. Then your stereo system here with the remote on the helm side. We've got a stainless steel drawer-style refrigerator right here, which is really neat. This utilizes the space underneath the backside of the seat here. And then underneath here, you've got a huge amount of storage.
And yet another clever use of space is the feature hidden under the engine bay cover.
We've concealed the bimini top underneath the engine box hatch. You pick it up straight up out of the motor box well, and then simply let the engine hatch back down. It also allows us to move this cushion and bring up the cockpit table. The Volvo 320 GXIs are small blocks, which pushes this boat north of 50 miles an hour. You've got a water heater to the starboard side over here. We've got the automatic halon system. If there's too much heat in the bilge, it automatically extinguishes the fire.
On heading aft to the engine compartment, we've got a good-sized swimming platform loaded with goodies for extreme water adventures.
You've got your dockside power inlet here. Right here, you've got a push button. That's for water skiing and your ski rope type line. You flip up this stainless steel lid, and you've got your hot and cold running shower. So when you get out of the water, you can shower off. And then you've got a nice pop-up cleat here on the stern. The Launch 32 has all the craftsmanship and amenities of an extreme yacht.
And that's the final word from the guys at Chris Craft.